on Cigar Club family? Welcome back to another episode of the Cigar Club Podcast. I'm Pugh, and along with me, as always, is Griff Howie. Thank you all so much for listening and tuning in every week and leaving your thoughts and feedback on each episode. We do love reading those. If this is your first time joining us, the Cigar Club Podcast is where we talk about all things cigars with you, the Cigar Club family, every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Today, Griff, we got a little extra special episode. Today is our 100th Cigar Club Podcast episode, and there's only one way to celebrate, and that's going to be smoking a $100 cigar. So, Griff, what are we smoking, buddy?
Top of the afternoon to you, Pew. It's been quite a while since we've done a podcast.
A lot of things happened.
This is quite the cigar, I will just say. This thing's, what, an 8 1/4? 8 1/2?
It is 8 1/4.
8 1/4. It's the Davidoff Royale or Royal release Salamones. I think it was like $110 actually.
Yeah, it was a touch over.
Small batch.
Coming in at $115. And Griff, you're going to love this. This is just a Dominican wrapper, aged 8 years, and that's all we've got. So that's your kind of detail.
For a $100 cigar, I expected this to come in a coffin. Number one. I also expected the Davidoff band paper looks a little different than the normal, although I don't smoke Davidoff, so you have to tell me. The paper just seems kind of like that cheap paper, you know what I mean?
No, I think
really?
Okay.
Well,
I think this is normal.
Maybe this is standard for Davidoff. But you know, for a $100 cigar, I'm like, I need that cardstock. And I need a coffin. So
yeah, I do wish. I mean, they come in a gorgeous presentation box of 10. It would have been cool if they did have.
Oh, the box is insane, but
for the consumer, be able to purchase
$1,200.
one. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'm gonna light up if my freaking lighter, of course, would work. It's crazy windy here.
It wouldn't be an episode if you didn't have lighter issues.
So yeah, I mean, I can't. This could be my first Davidoff.
I was going to ask, when was the last time you smoked a Davidoff?
Oh, because no. I've had the Winston Churchills, which are great. So no, I take that back. This is not. That would be pretty crazy.
I was going to say, I thought you've smoked at least one or two, but this is probably the first Davidoff you've had in several years. Now, I did smoke. We did a podcast back in 2022 where we smoked our most expensive cigars. I believe it was that one, and I smoked the Davidoff Royal pre-release on that episode. So I have smoked a semblance of this blend before, but it was in Robusto size. I think this is kind of the grandeur kind of presentation size. So I'm really excited to see if there are any standouts with this size over just a regular Robusto.
$100 cigar. That's I've never done it before. I think probably $50 maybe, and that was probably in Vegas, if I had to guess, is probably my top. So
you smoked that Cohiba that was secondhand, like $400 a stick.
Well, true, but yeah,
you didn't pay for it at $400.
I feel like I got a 2x4 in my mouth.
Yeah, that was my first reaction. Was I don't know how you guys smoke that La Aurora 7B by 8x70 ring gauge cigar, because this is about the top of my limit.
Yeah, well. I was talking to Vlad the other day when we were thinking about what cigar we were going to smoke, and he sent me quite a long, I don't know if I sent it to you or not, long paragraph on this cigar. He's got a couple of them lying around, which is pretty baller, but so he smoked one the day that we were talking about it. He really enjoys this cigar. I guess the bigger question is, which I think we know the answer, is it worth $100?
Yeah.
That's going to be that's steep, but
yeah, I mean, there's not really too much that I would want to celebrate with this cigar, just because maybe winning a championship game or something like that. But you're not going to smoke this for, I got first place at bingo today.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, this cigar is probably a solid 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, easily. I could have had it when I was playing golf over the weekend, but like it also, when you put it in your mouth, it kind of like, it's a little top heavy.
You're going to be pulling your shots.
I almost just lost it in my mouth. So anyway.
That was a good one. Well, real quick, though, I do want to let everyone know that we do have our Cinco de Mayo sampler live on our site now. We've got Crown Heads Jericho in there, Jericho Hill, rather. We've got the HVC Selection number 1, Pichardo Family, San Andreas Family Reserve, Casa 1910, as well as a Cigar Club Customs that we did last year. All of these cigars are going to feature Mexican tobacco. It'll be a great way to celebrate Cinco de Mayo.
You're getting back in the swing of things. Also, Pugh, for everyone that thinks he looks like hell today, he is under the weather.
A little under the weather.
He's got a fever and some other problems.
We weren't going to, push this off any longer. It was a crazy April, but it's great to be back. I kind of enjoyed the break a little bit. Obviously I was on the Bourbon Trail, so that was a great time. But
it feels
it's crazy
like
to think
we haven't
done a podcast since then.
I
know, right? We talk every day, but we haven't talked in a month.
I know. That's crazy. Well, anyway, cheers to the 100th episode to you. I'm not even drinking anything. I drank a little bit too much over the weekend. So,
if I was feeling fine, I would, but
yeah,
I'm pushing it as it it is. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so today, while we smoke these $115 cigars, we're going to be answering questions from y'all. But before we get into those questions, we have a very special video that Steve Wood, a.k.a. My Lost Interest, filmed for us.
Oh, God.
It's Friday. It's Thursday, baby. It's My Lost Interest. How's everybody doing? TA4 family, Cigar Club family, formerly FA4 family. Shh, it's a secret. Can I be right? I mean, it seems like only yesterday when Griff was diving into his pool with his clothes on. Still not sure why he did that. But Griff can do what he wants. He's a podcasting rock star, legend in the cigar world. He's the bee's knees. Let's not forget the OG, Dave Ember.
Oh, God.
What?
His Christmas drinking show is legendary.
I did $80 for the name, Cohiba Serie M. I'll Flarinet it on the way out. Flarinet is the best cigar I've ever smoked in my life.
Yeah, I won't soon forget that show. So Dave Ember leaves us, and there's Pugh, who steps up. He was the #1 producer, some great game shows. He steps up and has become the sexy podcast host that we all know and love. Not to mention, Pugh's a really good guy. Well, that's it for me. Hope everybody enjoys this episode of the Cigar Club Podcast. I want to give a shout out to the friends in chat and Discord that I've met along the way. And it's been a fun ride. Let's keep it going.
All right, that ending, that was good. That's a good look. I'll pull the George Costanza look.
God, Steve's crazy. Thank you, Steve, for the video. I also could see Steve keeping that hairstyle.
It's a great look. I mean,
I think if
the
people
summer
didn't
stash
know,
is coming back.
If
Steve
they didn't
needs to
know
pull
him,
that
they could probably believe that was his natural hairline or hairdo, rather.
I agree. Steve, think about it. Let it grow. Dye it out. Maybe get a wig instead. Keep the wig. And just, live your best life this summer.
That was good. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. That was awesome.
I have not been here. You've been here for the full 100 episodes.
There was a few episodes last 2 years ago at PCA that I wasn't in. But for the most part, I'd probably been in most of the
95%.
Yeah. So thank you all for, sticking with us. It's been absolutely an incredible ride, incredible journey doing these podcasts, something I never really thought I'd be interested in or really had any idea of doing. And as soon as we did that first episode, I was hooked. It's just a really great way to talk with great friends, meet great people that listen to the podcast every week. If you're not part of our Discord and you are a podcast listener, please join us. You can find the link in the description below to join us in our Discord that Steve was mentioning. We talk pretty much every day with all of you in there.
Initial thoughts on this first couple of puffs. This is not the most clean cigar I've ever had in my life.
Here's a rare Pugh rant. I hate these sizes.
Oh, I hate them too.
The initial burn is, I mean, I'm sitting here just trying to touch it up. I can tell you right now, my cherry's probably right here. So it's very wispy in terms of its smoke output. And
granted, it is windy out for me and you. But.
Yeah, well, I'm in my garage, so I have,
okay.
It should be perfect. Being a $100 cigar. So I'm going to tap this ash and see. I bet that cherry's pretty run up in there.
Yeah,
but
it's
underwhelming.
It's not. Yeah, it's not very clean, in my opinion.
No,
I don't probably foresee it getting any cleaner. But yeah, so far, and I'm not just saying this because it's Davidoff. I mean, you could put HVC on there, or Serena, or Warped, or anything. I would still judge it by its price fully. Not very impressed.
And I can tell you right now, the original release that I smoked a while back, maybe it's because I held on to it for longer, or it itself was aged, existed longer. This has nothing on how good that cigar was. So
yeah, this also this Royal release also comes in a
Robusto.
Okay, which was still 90, 80.
Yeah, let me take a look here.
It wasn't much, it wasn't much cheaper than.
No, not at all.
And you get like, quadruple the size on this one.
Yeah, a 2-pack is $95.
Really?
Yep. Wow, that's a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be.
For a 5
I really
by 50?
expected that. Yeah. No, I mean,
you can do $112, $115 for
triple the smoke.
115. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, there you have it. I mean, granted, this could develop, but initial thoughts.
I agree. It's not clean. There are some wispy flavors in it, but very fleeting. And the construction issues are what is bothering me.
Construction
for $100,
issues are my biggest flaw.
I should not have to touch this up ever. And I've already had to do it 3 or 4 times just to get that initial light going. Maybe, disclaimer, maybe it was me. Maybe I didn't have a proper light in the beginning, so therefore...
Well, that's also the damn problem with these things. Unlike a traditional foot, easy to light, get a nice and red.
You can't keep it on there for long.
This, it's like, I feel like you're blowtorching it, and it's going to be 50-50.
Yeah, it climbs up the side of the wrapper, scorches the side of the wrapper.
I will say the Foundation Cigar is in the same kind of format and lit it the same way I lit this, and it was flawless.
It's not, I don't know.
Much.
It's just, I don't see, it's just for the look. I'd rather have a flat foot than a tapered end and enjoy the cigar because I'm not worried about touching it up or relighting it.
Yeah, this is a big boy.
But maybe it'll grow and settle in. But so far, not so much.
Yeah.
But we've got, after that wonderful video, again, Steve, thank you so much. That was the first time I've been included in one of those famous, legendary Steve Wood videos. So that was humbling and, cool to be a part of that. But we've got a question from Does It Jam? What is your favorite Nicaraguan cigar? Damn, that's a loaded question.
Nicaraguan Puro, are we assuming?
No, let's just say country of origin, Nicaragua.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I
was thinking I was making it easier for you, but I may not be.
Man, there's two that immediately come to mind instantly. And there's one that immediately comes to mind on the Dominican side. I'm talking Nicaraguan Puros, also origin as well. So 2 birds on the stone. Is just the Warped GR88 and the Warped Lirio Rojo is like my definition. If you want to try in my opinion, the definition of a fantastic Nicaraguan cigar. Those two options.
Yeah, it's funny. You both of yours were warped, and literally mine would be the Villa Sombra as far as my favorite Nicaraguan cigar. And it's not surprising that I would figure either it would be Aganorsa or warped on your end.
Yeah.
And it's not surprising because they have damn good Nicaraguan cigars.
There's so many cigars out there, but I was talking to Joey the other night, and I'm like, that is the definition to me of what a Nicaraguan cigar should taste like. On the flip side, Chigui is the definition of what a solid Dominican cigar should.
The fact that you enjoyed that cigar made me that you were. I think you were starting to smoke more Dominicans at the time, but you really weren't a huge Dominican fan. No. You enjoyed everything that Ostos puts out, but for the most part, you were iffy on Dominicans, and I was so happy that that cigar resonated with you and kind of opened your eyes to that what great Dominican cigars can be.
Yeah, that's the one that if anyone has the mindset that I did years ago of, Dominican cigars just leave this, not residue, but this just burnt campfire taste on your palate. That is absolutely
hard to go
not
2
true.
for 2 with some of these Dominican brands. No, I completely agree.
Yep.
Yeah, those are great highlights. If I was going to pull outside of Warped, probably Aganorsa Rare Leaf. Or excuse me, Supreme Leaf.
Yeah.
We've beat that one to death. That cigar is just mind-blowing. I think I liked the box press Robusto more so than the rounded Corona or Toro.
I agree. I did not read the recent Half Wheel review on the Toro.
I have not either.
But last time I did smoke it, I also just prefer a smaller cigar. But I think I lean towards last year's as well.
It was interesting to know that was the first time they did a non-box press. I would not have won that bet if someone was like, hey, have all the releases prior been box press? I'd have been like, well, surely not.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. I think that's fun having another way to make a Vitola unique is the difference that you can get in draw and the perceived flavors by just box pressing something. And just how much it made a difference between, I think they weren't even like the same cigar, but it was still clean throughout, but it felt completely different of an experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And you see a 50, you see a box press 54. It's like, oh geez, I don't know, but basically account for a 52 and it's a great size. I think I still have maybe 1 or 2 left.
I was going through bags yesterday or the other day looking to figure out what I wanted to smoke and digging through it, and I found one, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't need to be in the bottom of the bag. Mm-hmm. And I think to your point, I think I have maybe 2 or 3 left. Bailey smokes them all, so if it's rare that I get one in because she just loves them. Who am I to say no?
It's very, very, very good. I had a super clean cigar the other day. What the hell was it? I can't remember. It'll come to me. But I was like, damn, this could be a good competition with Supreme Leaf because
really,
it was insanely. I have to go back.
Was it something you had at the lounge?
So Todos Los Dias. Todos Los Dias is a clean cigar for sure.
Yeah.
What did I have before that?
Let me
that day.
Let me take a look. Actually, I don't think you texted it to me. No.
Yes, Room 101 13th anniversary.
Yes. That was it. That cigar. When I first smoked that, I think that was probably January of this year. I immediately went to see if I could buy a box of it. There's something really fun about having one cigar or even just several puffs of cigar, and you immediately know you want a box. There's been a few box purchases that I've had that reaction to, and I do not regret the boxes of those that I went ahead and purchased.
I was very impressed. I texted Matt instantly. I'm like, man, I'm late to the party, but this is killer. I was digging it for sure.
Yeah.
Big cigar, too.
What's that?
6x50, I think. Big cigar. But great construction, very clean throughout. I really liked that.
I smoked the 13th, I believe, which was a black and gold band. If it's not the 13th, I think it's within the last several years. The 12th, sorry, the 12th.
Oh, okay.
The 13th blows away the other ones that I've had. I've had a couple more, and I can't recall which years they were, but Matt's got he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that was a very good cigar. That was it exactly. And then I switched to Todos Los Dias, which is completely different, and highly, highly, highly recommend that cigar. My God.
So update, I'm finally getting some semblance of flavor. The burn is starting to heat up, or the ember, so I'm actually getting some smoke. I wasn't getting any smoke output, but
I'm getting good smoke, but the construction's heinous.
I had a little hint of like umami, sort of like what we had in 710, but then pretty much dominantly cinnamon right now, which I'm okay with. I'm not mad, but I don't know what I would necessarily want out of a $100 cigar, but I would want maybe a little more.
Also, my wife is putting together a hammock stand. Good job, babe. And it's windy as hell. The instructions are flopping all over, but she's doing a good job. So
What a champ.
she's also getting blasted with my smoke. So and it's her birthday week. Her birthday's on Thursday. So
Oh, well, happy early birthday, Meg.
oh no, sorry, her birthday's on Wednesday. Whoops. I'm leaving Thursday.
You better, you better get that right.
Yeah.
Oh man, is your lighter just out, or is it just really because of the wind?
I can't tell. I think it's honestly from the wind. But I'm giving up. Screw it.
So Griff and I aren't drinking anything, but if you were to drink something with this or a pairing with this, do you have anything off the top of your head?
Some super low proof bourbon. Maybe around the 93 or so.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe up to like bottled and bond. I think like a low proof tequila would also probably be pretty good.
I think we don't drink a lot of them, but I think like a reposado would go really well with this. Not too, full añejo, but I think that would go really well.
Yeah. Other than that,
I was going to say,
I'm also intentionally not drinking something just because I wanted to. At $100 cigar, you kind of want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Not dilute anything. So,
I think as far as a Scotch, I would go like a Macallan 12, something not too offensive, not too in your face. That's just going to complement kind of what balance each other out with the cigar. I think it may make it a little cleaner too, which would help.
Yeah. So far, I'd be in for maybe $18-20, but
I'll give it its size, 30, just because it's a big old 7/4.
That's fair.
The next question comes from Smith the Non-Believers. What's the best way to cut a cigar if you don't have a cutter? Griff, I'm going to let you take this one because this is all you.
What I do mostly, the old finger nub, if you will, whatever you call it. But, a lot of people will, and I do it 50-50, just lick the cap just a little bit, maybe for like 2 seconds, just to give it some type of wetness, if you will.
Can you quickly demonstrate for the people at home? What does that look like?
Give it a little swirl while you're doing it.
I wasn't sure.
And then honestly, I just grab it. I never have nails because I chew them, but you kind of can just peel it right up. I mean, you can even get the size of, a pea, and that's all you need. I mean, you don't need a massive honking hole. But honestly, I lose lighters like it's my job, so that's usually what I do for most cigars. And if it's tight, then I'll scrounge a cutter from somewhere. But some people, in the movies, they bite it off.
Yeah, I could never do that one. I always fuck up the cigar.
Kind of a disaster, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's impossible, in my opinion, just to take it off with your thumb, and it's perfect. No problems whatsoever. So that's more or less. With something like this,
cut.
If it's a torpedo or something like this, that's a negative. You need a cutter.
Yeah, you're not fingering that off.
You shouldn't have any problems with that. I've done it dry and just wetting it a little bit. Same outcome usually.
Not really. I think the wet, wetting it a little bit's probably a little more preferable. So that way,
I would probably recommend that. But I know for sure it's It's one or the other. There's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah, the only way if I can't, to your point, like pick it off, if I have like my knife on me and it's not a super expensive cigar, I don't mind just cutting through it, assuming that my knife is clean at the time and not gross, because no one wants to do that. But yeah, the old factory cut, just picking off the end of the cap, and if you just look at the head of the cigar, or the foot of the cigar, head of the cigar, you can just see 1, 2, or 3 caps and just pick one off, and if it's not enough, you can go back and redo it again.
So just ashed for the first time and trying to touch it up, but I think it's a lost cause. So
how much, when you cut a tapered head like this, I'm going to call it a torpedo head, but it's not technically, I don't think. How much do you take off? Because I always end up taking off too little, and then I have to go back in, and usually that fixes the frustration that I had. So I just went back and did another little cut.
I mean, honestly, you probably can't see it, but, just,
yeah,
I don't know. What is that? Half inch? I mean,
something like that.
Nothing crazy, but I also, it's more honestly for my mouth, right? I don't want to, it's like a 20 ring gauge at that point. It's like,
it's weird to hold. You gotta really choke down on it.
I more or less do it just to get to the thicker part of the cigar. So at least stays in my mouth. But yeah, those are tough. I mean, some people will take, a minuscule piece, and it's just not me, but I cut this and I noticed, usually where I do, and it's perfect. No problem.
I noticed with this Vitola, or tapered head, more so than really any others, get a lot of tar buildup. So that alone will have to cause me to go back and cut in. I suspect I'll have to do it with this cigar just because it's a 7 1/4, and go through and just cut the head of it off again and clear out any of that buildup.
Yeah. Yeah. Next question.
Next question comes from David ANW. What are the best sites to order from? Well, immediately, I have to give us a shout out. CigarClub.com. Great place. We've got all our exclusives up in there for retail. We've got the vault where you can purchase previous releases that we've done. Obviously, we've got our monthly subscription as well. But outside of us, Griff, if you're ordering cigars, what are your top 3 places to look on?
For the Saka Khan Dunbarton podcast, we ordered from Neptune. That was a first for me. Mm-hmm. Very smooth process, gives you estimated times, which were not correct, but that was due to our postal service. But that was really cool. You don't usually see that. The Neptune site is a little old school for me.
I love their site.
I don't like it. I feel like I'm using a typewriter.
Fair.
But I will order usually from Fox or Small Batch Atlantic. Those are about the same in my opinion.
I was going to say Atlantic for me.
Free shipping. And Fox is kind of a drawback because it comes from Arizona, so it usually takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And, Neptune, I think, came from Fort Lauderdale or South Florida, rather, so it's usually
it was pretty much
days.
Same day shipping.
Yeah.
But
those are those are usually the 3 or 4: Small Batch Atlantic, Fox, Neptune, maybe.
If I'm purchasing outside of those sites, like I've made FamousSmoke.com purchases, I've made Cigar International purchases, and usually it's to take advantage of like a coupon or a discount deal. I enjoy Neptune because one thing that I really enjoy is when you can see the difference in Vitolas, especially when I first started smoking cigars and I wasn't as knowledgeable to be able to like visually represent a difference between a Robusto and a Toro.
Yeah.
It was always frustrating to see or to not be able to see what that actual Vitola looked like. And Neptune does a really good job of showing every single Vitola with its own photo. So then, if you were maybe trying to figure out what the hell a 5 1/8 looked like, you can see so. So I really applaud them for that. And their shipping was the first purchase for me as well. I love that you can get singles there. That's a feature
that's
alone that I would use.
Yep. I mean, it's buying a 5-pack sometimes is already hesitant enough. I mean, granted, if it's $35 to $45, it's you can always pawn them off or give them as gifts or whatever. But before you commit, have an option. I mean, to buy one single cigar with free shipping, it's like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, and especially when I first started smoking cigars, I had no,
Oh yeah.
boutique cigars around me or Davidoff or whatever. And so something like that would have been great because it gives you that same type of experience of walking to a humidor and not having to buy a whole. Imagine if you went into your brick and mortar and had to get 5-packs every time. It'd be, I get it. Logistically, it's too much for most companies, but that would suck.
It's also like, I've purchased for buddies, just use Warped, for example, and use Fox as an example. Get a GR88, get a Lirio, get a Cold Mana, get a Companion, and just do like your own custom sampler, which sometimes they already have those kind of built out. But it's fun to, or even mix and match with different brands. Having the ability to buy a single cigar is just really convenient.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right. Any update before we get on to our next question?
No true or big transition. Still a little dirty on the palate.
I'm wondering because the original release that I had, it probably had 5 or 6 years of age on it before I smoked it. I'm wondering if these just need that same treatment. I don't know I remember when this release came out, I thought at the time that it was just a one-time release. But the fact that I'm still seeing it places makes me think that maybe isn't correct. So I wonder if these just need to sit, which sucks
they've been
for a
$100
cigar. But I meant for years.
Shit.
I agree with you.
I'm not going to spend $100 and all right. See,
it's
in
not
another
an investment.
2 years.
You're not gonna get anything back from sitting on that $100.
No, and to be fair, yours have been your single. The one you're smoking now has been sitting for a month. Mine's been sitting for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So they're definitely settled and rested off the truck. But this burn is just you won't be able to see it, but it's horrific.
Mine's on a straight diagonal.
Yeah, that's horrible. It's horrible. Again, if it was a Robusto, it'd probably be, I would think, very construction-wise, very good. But I don't know, maybe not. Again, the wind is also not in my favor here, but I've been smoking a lot of cigars out here when it's windy, and
no wind in my garage.
Yeah,
and I'm on.
I'm starting to not blame the wind anymore on construction because I've had too many that have been flawless in
this
crazy winds.
Yep.
Hell,
I was smoking a cigar yesterday, 15-mile-an-hour wind.
You better believe it, baby.
It held on for half of the damn cigar.
That's right. That's what you want to hear. All right, next question.
Next question comes from Ezzo952. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Don't be so quick to judge taste profiles. What's a cigar that started off horrible, but by the end of the cigar, it was great? Hopefully this one.
I feel like that was a comment towards me. Probably so.
Don't be so sensitive.
Well, no, I'm not. I feel like that was a comment maybe to the one that I said I would throw a cigar away within the first few puffs when Alec and Bradley were on.
Yeah.
What was a cigar that started out rough? Usually to me it's the other way around. Starts out amazing and doesn't end too well, or it just starts to get repetitive, or just you're smoking tobacco at that point, right?
Yeah.
There's not really a cigar, and again, this is me personally. If I don't enjoy the flavor off the first 5 minutes or whatever, I'm not going to continue to push through it because I don't honestly see it changing. So I don't have an answer for this one.
Yeah, it's certainly a tough question, and maybe it's something to reflect on. But for me, I know, I've got enough cigars, thankfully, that if I did have one that wasn't doing it for me, our time's limited. So I go longer than Griff, not to bring back something we've talked about before, but I'll go maybe halfway on a cigar. And if by that point, either I'm just going to go back inside, or if I'm outside for the rest of the day, then I'll just light something else up.
Yeah. I on the contrary, I know immediately if it's going to be a damn good cigar.
Yeah.
You do too. And it 9 times out of 10, it'll hang in there and just be a very, very good cigar overall.
Mm-hmm.
When I lit this up the first few puffs, I was not overly impressed at all.
Yeah. No, not at all.
So, and my assumption is correct. This is not a very overly exciting cigar at all.
Yeah. I want a more, It doesn't have the depth of flavor that I would want out of $100 cigar.
Yeah.
The notes that I'm getting are very one note. They're very blah.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but I hope this finishes great and expectations are flipped.
Well, we'll know in another 4 hours.
Yeah. A couple cigars come to mind. One is, and I don't remember the particular, but an LFD cigar that I smoked was just a pure pepper bomb right from the start. And I stuck through with it, and that cigar got much better. So things like that, I will push through because, it may be intentionally peppered up front and, or just the way that the leaves are laid in the cigar will cause it to be more of a pepper bomb up front. But another one that I think of was the Davidoff Dominicana. Started off terrible. I was like, I'm going to smoke this because it's a Davidoff. And around just slightly past the third mark, it really opened up and got into what I expected. And so something like that could just be an inconsistent roll. It could be, maybe I didn't have it cut well enough. Maybe I didn't have it lighted well enough. So there's a lot of things. It's not necessarily just always a bad cigar.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, if it's a construction issue, you can usually tell that it's not you. If you cut down too low, sure, it's going to unwrap. So that's not on the cigar.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to use the Todos in the 13th anniversary, I smoked on Thursday or Wednesday at the lounge the other week. Within the first 5 seconds of each, I was like, I'm going to be a big fan of both. And I very much am. On the contrary, example A. And,
I believe, try everything twice. So just because I didn't like a cigar the first time, if someone were to hand me that cigar, I would certainly smoke it a second time. Because you could have just had a bad one, right? So would I go out and seek this out? Absolutely not. But if someone was like, hey, let's sit down. I really, I want to enjoy this cigar. I know you didn't like it the first time, but I think you will this time. Absolutely. I'm going to smoke it again. A third time, I'd be like, hey, I respect that. That cigar's a little too much for me to knowingly not like.
Agree.
But
agree. Yeah, let me go back to small batch and order another one of these for $115 and try it again.
There you go.
Absolutely not.
Alrighty. So the last question is going to come from Old Dirty Baxter. I try not to smoke too fast, but I tend to need a relight a couple of times. Am I not toasting it well enough to start?
Yeah, I would personally think that, and that you're smoking a little too slow. I always love when we were in Kentucky last year and I was smoking the, was it the Matilde Renaissance maybe?
May have been.
I think it was. And I kid you not, I put it on the table. I think I've told this story. I put it on the table. We walked across the street to go look at bourbon. I was gone for maybe 10 to 12 minutes. Came back. Was like, for shits and grins, I'll try it. Draw on it. Flawless.
That's
smoke.
Wild.
I'm like, that is killer.
That's special.
It could just depend on a lot of things. To me, it's one puff every 30 seconds. I don't really time myself, but again, you can easily judge how hot it is just by touching down there. If it's very hot, then you're smoking too fast. If it's very squishy, you're smoking too fast. But again, like, someone brought up in Discord the other day, use Pastelitos, for example, little 4x54 or whatever. Those are going to get hot, period. You could be smoking it super slow and it's going to get hot because there's just the surface area is, 10 times smaller. So you might not be toasting it enough. I mean, if you want to see a full red ash complete, all the way around, it varies. I mean, the quality of the tobacco could be another option, another thing as well.
I think you're spot on with the toasting because here's a cigar that we couldn't really toast. And I've had to touch this thing up several times because I could never get that initial charring and heating of the actual tobacco for it to just consistently burn throughout.
Yeah.
Another one that I've had before is if you maybe are not cutting enough off the cap of the cigar, you may not be able to have enough airflow drawing through the cigar, which could cause it to go out because you're not generating enough heat as you pull through oxygen. So that's something to consider as well. Obviously, you don't want to take off too much where you're starting to de-wrap the cigar, but that can be one as well. Sometimes when I do have draw issues, I'll go through and cut it again, and that'll help or burn issues.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, in my personal opinion, I shouldn't and really don't love to touch it up more than, or relight, I should say, more than 2, maybe 3 times. That's a lot. You know, it should be a one and done in theory. Granted, it's not always the case, but a lot of the times, you know, if it's starting to burn a little uneven, I'll do little touch-ups with the Bic just to make it look great, usually for a picture. But that's not necessarily relighting. It's just adding a little heat to one side that might not be doing the best.
Exactly. For me, if it's a good cigar, I'll do it until it starts to taste bad. But 2 to 3 times, and what I'll do is if I have a cigar that I need to touch up, I'll take the cellophane and just knock the ash off into the ashtray. Yeah. So that way I'm not relighting burnt ash. I'll get down to basically the cherry of the cigar or what's left of it and then light that up. So that way it'll help reduce some of those harsh burnt notes that you would get if you were relighting ash. And then maybe just do a quick push through as well before you actually redraw it just to really help expend any of that.
Yeah.
Anytime, most of the time, sometimes I forget, but most of the time I'll do a quick purge outwards before touching it up.
Yeah. I catch myself doing that more and more.
It looks cool in the lighter.
I also, I think if I think back, I think I do it when I'm going to pick it up again. In that it's been a while, right? So I put it down for a couple of minutes. I'll get it. I'll purge
it.
And if I see smoke, okay, I don't need to relight. If I don't, then I'll just go ahead and grab the lighter. To me, it's better than sucking in or, you know, drawing rather nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So. That's a great question. I like that one because it just tends to be just having to pay attention to it and be mindful of it.
Depending on the humidity. Are they stored correctly?
Yep.
Are they too wet? I mean, too loose of a draw.
Even to this day, I still have cigars that I have to relight up or retouch up, and I've got all mine in, you know, perfect Boveda temperature or humidity. So I know it's not that, and it's just the cigar or something, you know, the outside environment.
That's the it's a handmade product. That's what you get, and it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, still. I wanted more depth of flavor, and I'm just not getting it. It's pretty one note for me. Maybe it's me.
Like tobacco.
Yeah, I'm not feeling the greatest, so maybe that's why. But I don't think it's me. I'll put it that way. but before we wrap up the show, we wanted to do something new. We've done our fair share of hot takes, but now we wanted to react to some cigar hot takes. Which, if you wanted to win today's giveaway, you need to drop your cigar hot take in the comment below. So now we will react to these hot takes and decide if they are hot or not.
Ooh.
This is going to be fun. Try not to look ahead.
So
beyond $20, you hit rapidly diminishing returns with cigars. Not hot.
Wait. What?
A hot take to me is controversial.
Right.
I don't think that's controversial. Over $20, there's rapidly so it's not a hot take.
No.
That's what I said.
No, I know. I'm still trying to get the feel of the game.
Oh.
That wasn't your statement, right?
No.
Okay. You didn't lay it out. You didn't lay it out as clean as I was wanting.
My apologies.
So, no, that's not a hot take at all, in my opinion.
You know, it was in the outline of the show. You know, God forbid, the 100th.
Maybe the 101.
Maybe we'll start at 101 on a new foot.
101st, rather, not 101th.
Fair. No, I don't think that's a hot take at all. I agree. $20, $30 is really that max limit where anything other than that's probably marketing. The next one, 60 ring gauge cigars are awful.
Yes.
Ooh, I think that is absolutely a hot take. So
absolutely a hot take.
We're opposite.
Yeah, it's but look, teach their own, right? You got the guys that love the 7x70s, 6x60s. If you want jaw problems down the road, by all means. And if you want minuscule flavor, because they're just using a bunch of filler at that point, by all means.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, you know, if you're out on the golf course or if you're sitting outside all day and you just literally want to be smoking a cigar all day, I would probably be doing that as well. There's a time and place for it. But for me, I'm on the smaller ring gauge side, which we all know. I don't like to have my mouth that wide open. That
There's so many innuendos in this show.
Oh yeah, but yeah. So I take that back. I came in a little too hot. They're not. I was
gonna pull you back.
They're
Don't
not
worry.
for me. Before I get absolutely annihilated. That would be a good episode. Is smoking? Is it Asylum? What's the most well-known 60 gauge, 70 gauge?
I think it's probably Asylum.
We did the Texas Lancero PCA, and it was not bad at all.
No, it was not, and I was shocked at that cigar.
I needed oxygen afterwards.
I sat down with you. We both hated it from the jump. We're like, Ryan, we don't want to do this, and then it was not.
Yeah.
It was not terrible.
So that in itself, that is by far the biggest cigar I've ever smoked. Grant Whaley smoked it for 30 minutes, and there was probably another 3 hours into it.
Oh, God, yeah.
That was a big boy, and it was not awful. So
the reason I'm going to say this is a hot take, I would normally agree with you that 60 ring gauge cigars are disgusting is a charged word. It's but aren't that good. However, I have smoked plenty of 60 ring gauge cigars that make me say that can't be true for all of them. So the Casa 1910 cigars are great in a 60 by 60 ring gauge. The chunk sizes from Alec Bradley are great in those chunky 60 ring gauges. A box press 60 is going to be perfectly fine, being probably a 58. So there are too many exceptions for me to say that I agree with the statement.
Yeah.
But in a lineup of Vitolas, I'm not going to go for a 6x60 or a 60 ring gauge cigar unless, to Griff's point, the moment calls for it.
Yeah, but even that, it's like, then fine, I'll smoke 3 or 4 cigars, different
Maybe
cigars.
You can.
So you have at least okay, the first hour is going to be a Connecticut, then the second hour is going to be maybe you can at least diversify it instead of 4
You're
hours
not stuck with
or
that
3
same
hours
profile.
of, good God. Oh, look, it still tastes like this,
Well, this was going to be one that you're going to love. In their opinion, Aganorsa Leaf has the best tobacco in the world.
That's a strong statement. I agree to an extent that it's one of my favorites. It's very good.
Yeah.
In the world, it's a little much.
Yeah, it's tough because outside of Aganorsa, I really don't associate tobacco leaves with a brand. So in that regard, I think they've got that completely locked up. I guess you have Placencia Farms and stuff like that who it's
sure,
their tobacco as well.
And
AJ,
I love all three of Aganorsa, AJ, Placencia, love all of those cigars. Some I was
thinking of it as if
same level.
the leaves were Aganorsa called, but they're not. That was stupid. That's my mulligan for the show. I think it's top 3 probably for me, just on a consistent basis. And it's a rotating top 3 that there really isn't a number 1, but consistently they produce really good cigars that use those tobaccos.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of brands use them. And you can, if you're well familiar with Aganorsa, you could usually pretty much bet that it's probably Aganorsa tobacco, which is really cool. It's, like AJ, that's got its distinct flavor.
Yeah.
It's very cool when you really think about it, how that happens. But
yeah.
Also,
just like when we said we can tell when a cigar comes out of La Isla, it just tastes like something Ostos put together. It's like a signature dish a chef has. You just can pick up something in that chef. They like to cook with a lot of this, that, or the other. You can maybe pick out, hey, that's that chef. So I'm going to say that is a hot take, but it's not that hot of a hot take.
I'm sure. I'm sure people would absolutely agree with it. We love it, obviously, but that's quite a statement.
So here's one that I do not think will be controversial between us. New World cigars are better than Cubans. Million times, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, say that again?
New World cigars are better than Cubans.
Oh, yes. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. That's not controversial between us at all. That is not a hot take. And I think a lot of people, especially in the markets that Cuban cigars dominated, specifically Europe as well as Asia, I think as we see these price increases, you're starting to see these New World brands have more shelf space in their local humidors.
Yeah.
People are going to them because they can't afford the price increases of Cohibas or Cubans rather. And I think more and more people are being, whether it's forced or not, introduced to New World cigars and really just what the Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, all these regions outside of Cuba are producing really great tobaccos and making really great cigars. And our last hot take or not hot take, Lanceros are an overrated Vitola.
I think that would be a hot take.
So you think they are not an overrated Vitola?
I don't think they're an overrated Vitola.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think for most people, they probably view them as an overrated Vitola.
Yeah.
For me personally, I love a Lancero.
Yeah.
Is it my favorite in every blend? Absolutely not. But when a Lancero is good, it is damn good.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people are maybe turned off by the appearance of the size. There was something I was watching the other day that when in bars and stuff like that, a lot of men would be hesitant on ordering some of the higher end cocktails because they don't know what glasses they come in. So it perceives, the masculinity takes a hit. So by including photos of the glassware, they were able to increase their sales to their male clienteles for that. And I think a lot of that has to do I think there's something similar with the Lancero. It's the perception of smoking this longer, thin cigar. You see, whenever I see someone chomping down on like an 80 ring gauge, I'm like, you're doing that. And he's not even smoking it. I'm like, all right, you may enjoy it, but I think you're doing that to have a cigar in your mouth and look cooler than you are. So I think most people view them as overrated, but I personally don't because they're.
Yeah. They, when you really dissect it, it's fewer tobacco. So you're going to pick out all of the nuances if there are any and all the different complexities if there are any. And it's an art. I mean, it's a lot of people don't do Lanceros because it's a bitch to roll, right?
Yeah.
So a fantastic, Lancero that's fantastic is absolutely fantastic, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it's time and place. I've got several, and I usually don't gravitate towards them, but
sure.
To take the Villagra Miami Lancero, for instance, phenomenal Lancero. I thought I was going to like that the best in that size. Granted, we were in PCA smoking it, but I personally like the Robusto size a little bit better.
And for me, that's one of my favorite Lanceros,
right?
Along with the Principal yellow or white banded Lancero. That's those two immediate standouts for me. And I get it. Like if you don't like it because it's the mouthfeel, just like we didn't like a larger than 60 ring gauge because the mouthfeel starts to get weird. I totally get it, right? Or, maybe a Corona Gorda, 44 or 46, something along those lines. I get it. But if you smoke it and you're like, oh, this doesn't taste good, or, I don't like smoking them because I don't like smoking them, let's give it a try. Trust me. They're just try it and give it a shot. Don't just quickly dismiss it.
Yep. So, I do think it's a hot take. Do I agree? No.
Final conclusions. Was this worth it?
No.
No, I agree.
Not in the slightest. Not even a portion of me says, was it worth it?
Yeah. It did not deliver after reading Vlad's description of it, I was like, oh, this is going to be a home run.
I need to go read it again.
It was detailed. For me, though, I just didn't get the depth of flavor that he was able to perceive in this cigar. So maybe it is just me. Maybe it just doesn't hit our palate the way that it hits his perfectly. But I would not pay another $115 for this cigar, but I would smoke it again if someone were to give me one or had a reason for me to smoke it again.
Sure. Yeah. I probably would too if it was a freebie for sure. But honestly, I'd prefer something else with more flavor and more transitions and all that. Yeah. And something smaller.
Let's do a giveaway.
I would like to try it in the Robusto. Someone, sent that for free. I'd be happy to smoke it in the Robusto, but the Salomon that's just a commitment, Well,
let's do a giveaway. And it's our 100th episode, so I think we need to do it right.
We're not giving away one of these, by the way.
We are not giving away one of these.
A 5-pack of the Royales.
Kind of want to give away a year's worth of black.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
So, in the comments below,
That's a great idea.
We want to know your hot takes, cigar hot takes. We're going to go through those. We're going to pick our favorite hot take, and you will win a year's subscription to our Cigar Club Black premium subscription. That's 4 times a year. It's quarterly, and we're able to ship out some higher-end MSRP cigars, more limited releases that we couldn't necessarily get larger orders for, and just a really fun way to introduce some of those higher-end MSRP cigars. So if you are a current subscriber, you can still win the giveaway. We'll just get you a year's worth for free. So let us know in the comments below. Thank you all for supporting us over these 100 episodes. Can't wait to bring you another 100 more and celebrate 200 in the near future.
Thank you again, Steve, for the video.
Thank you, Steve. Until next time, everyone, happy smoking.
Peace.